Hey there, good morning. It is another great day. I'm your host, Jeff.ski.Kinsey, and this is my live cast. Now, it's not exactly live because that's extra work. I'm a one-man show, and the important thing is to get these messages collected for you and make them available. I have a special channel on my YouTube page for what I call live cast, where I keep updating these. So, neat thing you can kind of see here on the edge of the screen. I rearranged my office. I want to give a shout out to Larry Broughton. I think that's how he pronounces his last name. I've known Larry, I don't know, probably 10 years or more. Connected with him 2013, I think, at the Patriot Boot Camp in DC. But a couple weeks ago, I went through one of his master classes on how to break through the 7-figure ceiling as a independent, a solopreneur, consultant. And one of the things he talked about is productivity tips. And anybody who's followed me for more than about an hour knows that I'm really big into that. I use the Pomodoro technique. But one of the things he talked about was a second screen on your computer. And I remember it was about 5 or 6 years ago, the first time I ever worked somewhere where they gave us a second screen. And it helps, it really does. And I'd gotten out of the habit, and my office was a disaster. And so I said, one of the things he said is how many hours a week you can create extra hours in your schedule by getting a second screen. So that's part of the rearrangement here. I now have the second screen hooked up to my MacBook Pro. And so once again, I am finding it productive, but here I can now use my iPad mini as a teleprompter. How cool is that? And so one of the things I want to talk about today, and again, this is just a quick shout out for New Year's Eve. I want to talk about Farmer Brown, this amazing individual I met. His real name is Homer Brown, and I haven't talked to Homer in 10, maybe 20 years or more. But long story short, I'm in a mall years ago at a Radio Shack store. And this gentleman comes in, and I'm having a conversation with the store manager. And as you may recall, Radio Shack was one of the first movers in the personal computer space with their TRS computers, which stood for Tandy Radio Shack. And so Homer Brown comes in and he goes, hey, and I kind of step aside so, they can have a conversation. And he says, I'm looking for somebody to teach an introduction to basic programming. And the store manager goes, well, then you want to talk to this guy, which would be me. So Homer and I hit it off. I taught that class in, I think it was January of 1981 for a group of farmers. He ran a department called Farm Business Planning and Analysis out of what used to be called Buckeye JVS. It's now Buckeye Career Center. And he had these farmers that they're trying to make heads or tail. Again, in this 1981, the PC really took off, personal computer really took off in, 1979, more or less. And so I end up teaching this class, and I remember at break, he calls me aside, and Homer goes, he says, you do know that most of these gentlemen, I think there might have been a woman or two, most of these people in the room have their PhDs. I said, yeah, why? Well, I had drawn some stick figures to make a point, and he thought maybe, I guess, I was talking down to the farmers, which I'm not. I have amazing respect for farmers. I mean, some of the most technically savvy people, as our founding fathers. Some people want to say, they're a bunch of hicks. No. Some of the smartest men ever, the founding fathers, farmers. So anyhow, I shared this thing, and the whole point of this message is mentors. So Homer Brown takes me under his wing. Next thing you know, I ended up teaching 10 years computer science at the Career Center there, and also did some work for the continuing education department for Kent State University at Tuscarawas branch, and also I think I taught a workshop in Trumbull at the Trumbull County or Trumbull campus. But Homer was this amazing mentor, and we created this amazing software. They'd gotten a letter that Ohio State University was going to kick them off their mainframe. They didn't have time or space or resources to run this analysis program on all the farms. So Homer got Joe Carlisle, who was an amazing superintendent at Buckeye way back when, amazing individual, and he got approved money to buy a computer and to buy a programmer, me, or buy some of my time, to recreate this program. And it was complex. As I recall, we put in about 14 pages of input to create a 7-page analysis. So, but the one thing that every time I think about this and I see some posts I mentioned on LinkedIn earlier this morning, he says, it's a good life if you don't weaken. Think about that. 2020 tested our patience, our resolve, right? But it's a good life if you don't weaken. So what are you doing to get prepared for 2021? Now, I normally charge, I'm basically retired, semi-retired. I still goof off a lot. And I typically charge $1,000 a month for a 30-day window for me to mentor business owners, primarily in the tech space, but not necessarily. And so I'm trying to wrap up the year, and I say, I know people don't really want to spend that kind of money, but you're going to see at least 4x return on your investment, maybe as much as 10x. So I said, well, let's do a year-end sale. If anybody wants to take advantage, we'll book it for as soon as they want to get started in January, but pay me now. So 2 conditions. Okay, you have to use PayPal, because I just love PayPal. It just works. Okay, when you pay me, I instantly have access to my money. You can't beat that. Okay, and the second thing is you have to buy it today. And I'll include a link in the show notes here where I post this, but only $220.21. Normally $1,000 value. Offer expires tonight at midnight. Because guess what? Tomorrow is next year. It's not only next month, but tomorrow is next year. Think about that. This year's gone. Whatever plans you had for this year, this is it. Get her done today, or your chance is gone. So how cool is that? If I can help, you have to reach out. And the best way to do that is to pick up your mobile phone. I put mine somewhere. Oh, I'm recording on it. Pick up your mobile phone and dial pound 250. And at the prompt, say, contact Ski Man. If you're in business and you really struggling to make a dollar, given everything this past year, you can also dial pound 250 and at the prompt say double sales. Let me show you how together you and I can double your sales in the next 90 days. I know. You're saying that's not possible. No, just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean it's impossible. Guy Kawasaki, one of my heroes, said, look, everything's impossible right up until the moment the entrepreneur does it for the very first time. Let me show you how. I've done it for me personally. I've done it for clients. Reach out. Okay, let's get her done. Thanks. Oh, by the way, let's have a great day. It's going to be just about as great a day as you make up your mind to make it. So join me and let's make it a fabulous day.